Okay, hey everyone. So this is ArtWreck, and this is a video project that we are just starting right now, where we discuss art shows that are currently up that we've seen. I'm Anthony Tamburo, and I studied art at Drew University, and I studio assist from time to time. So that is my, investment in the art world, but my day job is barista at Starbucks. So.
Hi everyone, I'm Kate Fisher. I also went to Drew University. So I work as a nanny for 3 boys, and I am going to be starting a dual master's in library science and costume studies in the fall, very soon, at NYU. That's
Cool.
me.
I'm Taryn, and I also went to Drew.
The plague.
I transferred there, though, after going to art school in Boston. And I studied art history and arts administration, focusing on museology. So hopefully someday I get to work in a museum. But right now I am a marketing coordinator at a engineering consultant firm in Manhattan. So I do a lot of design work, don't worry. I'm doing some art.
I'm Brendan. I did not go to art school, and I did not go to Drew. I studied at FIT for accessories design.
That counts as an art school.
Well, for a time.
It's pretty artsy-fartsy.
Yeah.
That's...
It happened that it didn't. So I have had jobs as a studio assistant for artists, and I am currently working as a freelance costume designer in the city. So I sort of have a little bit of a different perspective.
Short disclaimer. We do not have any vested interest in the galleries or artists or topics we are discussing here today, other than we are here to speak art together. Right. All of us have visited the Nancy Hoffman Gallery, and we went specifically to see the Nathalia Edenmont. They're pictures called Fruitfulness. And we have a lot to say. Well, we have some to say.
We have a lot of thoughts.
I actually don't have much to say about this one.
Just that they're fruit ladies or fruit ladies and fruit. Or
Well, let's
Okay,
talk
let's
about
get our
what the
initial
pictures
thoughts
are.
out there, because we have kind of similar opinions.
So these are all images of women,
Yes.
young women. Some looked a little bit older. I'm just gonna say women.
It definitely was from like early adolescence to
Mid 30s.
Yeah.
It's like that age where you can model, you know?
yeah, that wide span of years.
But they're large scale photographs of women wearing dresses or clothing that sort of were in dress forms with skirts. None of them were pants. Made of plants, mostly vegetables and fruits.
And
Things that bring up the idea of fruitfulness.
Right.
Basically, the material is either dirt or a bunch of carrots or these really phallic-looking mushrooms.
Yeah.
On
On the youngest model.
Yes, of course.
The photograph of the youngest looking model was wearing it wasn't a dress.
No,
it was just a shirt.
a bustier
Yeah.
of. Well,
Yeah.
I guess you could call it. You could call it a shirt. You could call it a bustier. You could call them dresses.
It could have been a.
It could have been a
you can
dress,
see the
but it
bottom
was
half.
just it was a headshot.
Yeah.
It was just
Right.
a medium shot.
But they're mostly, I think, very large photographs.
Yes.
Oh yes.
And they're all printed on tin,
Yes.
or aluminum. They have an ethereal glow about them
Yes.
just from what they're printed on.
That I
Which
did
really
find
made the-
interesting, though.
It really made the colors pop.
Yeah.
And of course, it's on their black background photographs.
Yes.
So
They're all very beautiful, very in focus.
Yeah.
Which is,
It's
Which is
almost
great.
surreal
That's
because
what-
of that
that's what
black
we have to say.
background.
That's what you want from a photo.
yes. You
It's-
can see them. Yeah.
They do. When I first suggested that we all go see this show, I was very excited. Mostly because when my first, little tingle of excitement was that I thought we were going to see actual dress representation there. So
physical
physical objects of the materials that they used in the photography. So I thought we were actually going to see carrots and actually going to see beets and actually going to see a pile of dirt.
Yeah.
And that would have been great.
Right.
But then I actually read the description
It's
of
not that.
what was there, and it wasn't that.
Right.
Well,
What
which
was
is okay.
there was some pictures. I mean, think of a fruit or vegetable. There was an outfit
There
made out of
was.
it.
Yeah,
It was there.
great.
there.
Grapes.
Tomatoes.
I really wanted to eat them. I was really
Strawberries.
hungry at that point.
Yeah.
Giant
Yeah.
strawberries. I don't know what was up with that.
Well, I think there was a lot of
Digital manipulation.
digital. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, I think the things to appreciate about the show is the appropriation of, correct me, because I'm not the person who knows everything about, like, Victorian style?
Okay, you could say that, but continue.
Like,
so
I'm
I
not the
understand
expert on
context.
what that terminology is, but the hair.
Okay, I would not say Victorian.
Okay, exactly.
There were no Gibson girls there, but it's.
See, I don't know. That's not my expertise. I don't know the difference. That's why you're here
I
to
think if it was a
correct me.
historical style, it'd be more like 1860s.
Okay,
sort
so
of,
I'm just gonna generalize that to historic, like
It wasn't
historically
it wasn't
influenced
historic.
hairstyle, and
Yes,
and
historically
if they were
influenced.
actual dresses, dress cut.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of.
Especially
Okay.
in this image that we have here on our reference table.
We'll show an actual picture of it.
Yeah,
She
we-
has a collar,
She does have a collar.
which is like that it's collar. I don't know.
All right. From
Not, they're the fashion people here, not me.
from a costume history standpoint, their dresses all were very A-line but large,
Yeah.
full skirts in that A-line idea.
Right.
The hairdressing was the one thing that distracted me during this
Right.
whole with each photograph. It was a completely different style.
Right.
I would have just put it to a general inspiration from different art historical paintings and things
Yeah.
like that you have seen, because there are some. They were all updos except
No.
for one. I think there was one redhead who had a little bit of
She
a
had
low
more
down
like a
look.
mane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she had the curls to have a mane. So
Right.
But-
There was one, and I was thinking about what I was about to say before I said it, and there's one model who is the probably eldest model, and I don't know why I keep referring to these models by their age.
by their age, yeah.
But her hair was, I said it to you earlier, very Winifred Sanderson.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Winifred Sanderson with
Winifred.
like the weird like
Hocus
bulbs.
pocus.
Yeah, hocus
Very,
pocus, and it's frizzy.
Right. We're art critics and millennials.
Mm.
It's the worst combination.
I mean, like,
ever.
that's the whole point of our blogs, that we're millennials talking about art, right?
I think that's really wonderful that when you looked at those photographs, you picked up on their ages, because that was not something that came through. my
Is that
mind
something,
at
do
all.
you think
was
the
it-
artist wanted that, though?
Maybe.
Because I'm not referring to them by what they were wearing.
I mean-
I don't remember what she was wearing. But I remember
Honestly-
her by her age.
By how she looked. You know what, in some way I do remember, like, there were some models that looked a little bit more mature, and models that definitely looked like adolescents.
Mm-hmm.
When I looked at these dresses, it didn't make me think of anything, like, of a place of history, as
Yeah.
far as, like, the
I
shapes
know.
and designs of
I
them.
kind of thought about like the new look a little bit. Like some of them felt very like Dior-ish with like the you know,
Really?
skinty waists and like the.
I think a snatched
Like-
waist is just, you know.
But
it's just
I
the
guess
tee,
it's like
isn't
this shape, you know.
A bell.
it?
Yeah.
And if anything, the bell sort of makes
Well-
me think of this Ante-Bellum South look, which I assume as a Russian artist she was not at all thinking about.
No. Well, I mean, I guess you
Unless she
can
really
call
loved Gone
her
with
a
the
Russian
Wind.
artist. I'm not sure if she still lives
She got,
in Sweden anymore, but she
She's-
was originally from Yalta.
okay, go ahead, cut that part out. Not Russian.
Never mind.
So but honestly, I didn't really get anything from the press release at all.
That
No.
was just not descriptive of what we were
Of
seeing.
what the work
it was
Like-
just a general artist statement, which is fine.
But I
Which is
think
fine.
It
Like,
didn't
going into
add
that
to
show.
fruitful. It was not fruitful.
It was not a fruitful
We
experience.
needed all that.
Are they fruit?
No, they are
Not
not all
all.
fruit. A carrot.
So then
is
what is the
not a-
fruitfulness referring to?
It might be
I
more.
mean, it's that you know
The women.
that adjective like it's fruitful. It's like you know it's like all
Yeah,
of these
bountiful.
things that
Bountiful,
Unbarren.
fertility.
yeah
This
Fertility.
idea of fertility.
So they're all women.
Well,
Women bearing fruit.
Ooh, and having large bell skirts means
Yes.
you have large baby-bearing hips.
Mhm.
So what
And
about the
you're a
woman who was
fruitful
dressed
woman.
in dirt?
Well, she had a
I mean,
large
she's literally
bell
like,
of dirt.
where the earth can be so fertile.
She was
you know,
extra
like,
fertile.
The only
At the
one.
source.
What about the ages of the women then?
Yeah.
Well, you can be
how
fertile
fertile
at
were
all.
they?
And they stopped at what, 35, mid-40s, and then menopause.
Right, around the limits of what you think would be a childbearing age.
Yeah.
I'm
So
not even
all
sure
mothers.
if- But like when I
Wait.
think about that show, I wasn't necessarily thinking about any of these things because I was just
Yeah.
so confused by it when I
Oh,
watched.
I was thinking definitely about fruit
I was on.
and like reproductive rights and stuff.
I'm glad you were.
Okay.
I was looking
I
for
didn't get that.
a connecting theme other than they're all women wearing fruits and vegetables.
Yeah,
As
like,
dresses.
I wanted something
was
a little
good
bit more
how-
from the show that I think I just didn't get as far as
Oh, yeah.
message and content.
Yeah.
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 Now, what kind of intervention do you think a registrar could have done in that situation? Like, how could there have been more gallery involvement to make this show tick, to make this show actually work?
Don't put them in a gallery where the lights are gonna distract me from the image.
Yeah.
It was
Like
what
literally
the-
could
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have to go
there was.
right up to it. You can't take a step back because it's tin, so it's
Yeah,
reflective,
that's the
and then
nature
it's
of the
behind
material.
glass, so it's
Right.
reflective. So like
It
I
was
was
a double reflection,
Yeah.
and then they had
The lights,
very
the red
high
Yeah.
lighting, so it was
Yeah.
tricky.
It was hard to appreciate them as whole objects because if you stood more than a few feet away from them, you just got
Yeah.
glare.
or I kept seeing myself.
Mm.
Maybe you were supposed to see yourself in these women. I
Maybe.
actually don't think so.
No, I don't
I'm
think
not sure.
I don't think that was
Yeah.
the original.
And we would
intent.
know if the press release said anything about this art.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing.
And-
That's
and it
I really
doesn't.
feel like that's the main thing that I feel like the gallery could have done is maybe just like give a little bit more context other than like here's the biography of this artist. And
I want to know
like,
how
you
the gallery chose this artist, other than it probably being owned by the gallery.
Yeah.
And then it's interesting and different.
And I think it's important to say the content of the press release is her biography, which is that, she was her art is informed by her idea of death. Her parents died when she was young. It talks in the article about her being at a funeral and seeing this traditional Russian dressing tradition of a body in a coffin.
They do have a paragraph that talks about her inspirations more to how she used what she used within the photograph. So I
Right.
feel like that's much more art based on the visual that we
Right.
saw in the gallery. But that's a paragraph out of 5-6 paragraphs that they had. So
This is a double-sided press release.
it would have
which is
been
long.
nice to have a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right, because at the end of the day, they are beautiful pictures, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure what the artist's intention was here, or if there was one, which
Yeah.
is worst
Yeah.
case scenario for me.
Well, what I really got out of it is I would love to make a structural dress out of edible things.
Yeah.
That
What I
was
got out
like
of it is that I
nice.
was like hungry, and just salad is like not that far away.
Yeah,
Well-
exactly.
Well, Natalia used all fresh fruit, so
Yes.
that makes sense for us to
Yeah.
be hungry.
Which
Well, I
was,
definitely
after
got
that.
food after the show.
but I wish there was just
I
more of a
didn't,
comment
sure.
on the visual bounty of these fruits and vegetables, and what that meant for
Yeah.
the viewer and the artist.
Or even symbolism behind each.
Fruit and vegetable.
Yeah.
Yes, or some connection with the age of the model or what they look like.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to know that these are all tall, thin, light-skinned models.
Yes.
But they're sitting down.
Well, are they sitting down? I
Who
think
knows?
when the portrait's taken, they do happen to be sitting down because most of the hands are
In the
up
lap.
here. But
Right.
then also you could argue that the supposed dresses that they're wearing all have very belled structure in the skirt, so that they would need some sort of support system underneath the skirt, And when you have a support system underneath your skirt that makes your
Kinda
waist
just, like-
look huge,
Right.
then you have built-in armrests.
You gotta cover that waist.
So you always
You have
have
the
your
just, like-
arms up like this, the
Right.
same way you would if you were sitting in a chair for a
Right.
portrait. So who knows?
Why were they all tall, thin, light-skinned women?
That's my
Ooh.
question.
Was that something the artist
Like that-
considered?
Because when you go to see an art show, you don't necessarily expect such a direct reference to fashion photography, and that's really all I
Right.
was getting.
Yeah.
This
when I
is
was
a
over
lot of
there.
fashion
Yeah.
photography. It looked like a fun, like Vogue spring editorial.
Yeah, that's but that's literally
Let's
what I
get
was
covered
thinking.
in carrots.
You know, even
Right.
even their facial expressions were
Which is
very,
very,
like,
like-
model-esque.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very like
you know,
Dour.
editorial.
yes. Yes.
Well,
Do we have anything else?
we mentioned diversity in models. Where is she from? Russia,
Sweden.
Sweden. I don't think they have a lot of.
Well,
I
no,
mean,
there are not a lot of black people in.
It's just like
In Sweden.
In
I mean, I don't live in
Yalta.
Sweden, so I don't know.
no, it's
Yeah.
Or in Russia.
because like the reason why diversity is I feel like such a topic in the United States is because we're supposed to be the melting pot.
well, also
Everybody came here to get away from what they were. But in Sweden, everybody is going to be tall, light-skinned, blonde.
generally speaking, yes.
Yes,
I mean,
but
our country had slavery for over 150 years.
Yeah.
Their countries, if they did have colonialization, normally also had slavery, but it wasn't in their home country. So there's not as much of a mixing pot.
But why are there no fat women? Why are there no disabled women?
Yeah.
Why are there
Good.
no ugly
Yeah.
women? Why are they all
Why are
tall?
there no old women?
thin?
Yeah.
I think there's an
No,
old.
like-
I think there is an older woman, the Winifred.
She was a little
Winifred
bit
there.
older, but she didn't.
She was.
She's
like,
at the
you know,
end of her.
We
Childbearing
definitely need
years.
to go through this.
Is that
pictures
when you
again.
die as a
Yeah.
woman? Is when you can't bear children anymore?
Well, back then, yeah.
Yeah.
It's 2017.
Back when?
Yeah, back
Yeah.
back in
Well, maybe
2017.
she's referencing because
Maybe.
of how this is so historically influenced in terms of like what the cut of the dress might have been based on, or like
Mhm.
the style of the hair. Maybe that's what she's referencing.
Well, now we have to create all of these references because
Because it doesn't say
it's
that.
not visually
Exactly.
Right.
Well,
stimulating.
I
that's what
wish
I'm
it
finding
did.
so frustrating about this is that like all of this is
Right, you
so
can impose all these
conjecture.
meanings
Oh,
on
you
your
know.
so
art.
you're frustrated that a modern contemporary gallery doesn't have enough wall text.
I don't
That
want wall
sounds
text. I
familiar.
want a press release.
Oh.
Something.
Well, I feel like the press release is its own form of wall text in these
Right.
days. Or it. Okay, so within every museum, you could basically use the large entrance wall text as
Right.
a press release.
That's what it
Right.
does. That's what happens if you ever see
Right.
a press release from a
That's what
museum.
it
It is
is.
a wall text.
Yeah.
So, what do you say? See the show?
I
You
mean,
can see
it
it
takes 2
online.
seconds to
Want
walk into
to.
the building.
Right.
and walk
If you
out.
like nice in-focus photography, they are all in focus.
Yeah.
There's
Or
certainly-
very
all in
fresh
focus.
vegetables that
There's
you can
certainly
actually
very
eat.
pretty
I
pictures.
say
Yes.
vegetable is very weird.
Pretty vivid color. Mess with your eye
Yeah.
photos.
The
Don't
people
go
in the
on an empty
gallery
stomach.
who
Don't
worked
go
there
on
seemed
empty
nice enough.
Yeah.
Yes, the woman was very friendly, and they have a lovely
She
back
was.
garden, which I think might be open now.
That was exactly the back garden.
I feel
That's
like we
what I
definitely
got
saw
really
a show
excited
there.
That's where you wanted to see the fruit dress.
Yeah. Well, when I went into Nancy Hoffman, it was kind of interesting to see the pictures, and then I saw there was a back garden, and there
Right.
was some really stimulating
Sculpture out there.
sculpture out there.
Right?
That's
Yeah, yeah.
permanent.
And I was just
Yeah.
like, what's
Yeah.
out there? Can we get out there?
Exactly!
I wanna see that stuff.
I felt like I wanted to escape what I was looking at in the frames. So, oops.
Yeah, they're perfectly lovely photographs. Just not what I needed.
Shows as
comment
well.
below your thoughts on these shows.
Yeah, comment below, send us a message. Let us know what you thought when you
And
saw these shows.
subscribe.
Oh, also
Yeah.
tell us what we missed.
Tell us what we
Because
missed.
missed a lot.
This is episode
Yeah.
1, so please help us improve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real. Tell us what you want to see. Send us a joke.
Yeah, send us a joke. I want to knock. Oh, here's a good one. So,
Yeah.
This is how we should end every episode with a
Okay.
joke.
This is a good one.
this is a classic from my mother. The Buddhist walks up to a hot dog vendor.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Make me one with everything."
Ah.
No.
End of joke.
On that profound note.
Bye.
Part 2 next episode.